Hello, ACDA, Eastern Region. My name is Amanda Hanzlik. I am the president-elect of the Eastern Region, and welcome back to another episode of our conference conversations. Today, I am so excited to be welcoming Arreon Harley Emerson to our conference conversations. Hello, Arreon. Thank you so much for being with us. And hello. Eastern Region, you all know Arreon as the national chair for the American Choral Directors Association for the Diversity Initiatives Committee. And we here in the Eastern Region are also enormously blessed to have Arreon as our advisor for DEI on our executive committee. So Arreon, Mr. Harley Emerson, we are so grateful you are here. Welcome to Conference Conversations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of us know your name. A lot of us have obviously read letters from you, seen your work online through Equity Sings, through the Choir School of Delaware. But we'd like to get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. And if you could just share with all of us about you and about who you are, where you are, and how you came to choral music.
Wow, that's a great question. It's a big question.
It is big, I know.
Wow. What you should know about me is I love Broadway musicals. I'm going to hit 30 Broadway, not 30, 80 Broadway musicals on the 25th of March, seeing 80. I know. It's a lot of Broadway, y'all. I am in the city all the time to see Broadway musicals. Love them. I also have a passion for potatoes, which a lot of people know about. I love all kinds of potatoes, sweet potatoes, baked potato, French fry, potato chip. I love it all. I love it all. And everyone knows, well, not everyone knows, a lot of people know, and now you all know that during meetings, I eat popcorn. And not just in Zoom meetings, a lot of time in in-person meetings. But that's a little bit about me. I live technically in Pennsylvania. I live just over the line, but a lot of my life, both professionally and socially, is in Delaware, the first state. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I came to choir as a kid. I started singing in church, went to a traditional Black church. All the music was, taught in the oral tradition. And then when I was in second grade, my teacher, Mr. McCoy, shout out to you wherever you are, was instrumental in preparing me and encouraging me to audition for the Peabody Conservatory's children's course, which is still conducted by Doreen Falvey. She's been there, oh my gosh, over 30 years at this point. It's been a minute. But a long time she's been there. And so I auditioned and I was in that from age 7 to 18. And that really was my entry into the Western side. So I was really lucky in many ways because I was able to have both the Black experience through church, through gospel, and a lot of other Black expressions. But then at the same time, I also was able to have a really wonderful children's choir experience. And that was very exciting. And ACDA was a part of that. I remember singing at a number of conferences, doing some of the OG honor choirs back in the day. So I feel like a lot of people ask me why I'm so passionate about ACDA, and I tell them because I'm an ACDA baby, because I was around when a lot of the programs for kids were first getting started. And so I feel like my entire life, I've been involved in ACDA in that capacity. And so I serve as a means of helping the organization move forward and to give back because I feel like I've been given so much.
Oh, that's amazing. So after children's choir and that life as a young singer and a young chorister, where did you continue your choral and music studies?
Yeah, so I then went to Goucher College, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny liberal arts college that's basically in Towson's backyard. So if
Okay.
you know Towson University, you've probably gone by Goucher. I'd never seen anything like it. Like the campus is gorgeous, it's beautiful. I grew up in a city. People boarded horses there and were playing like croquet, and like I was like, what is happening? It was nuts. I definitely had culture shock, but it was a really great place. And
Okay.
their music program was connected with the conservatory, and they still have some relationship now, but it was very much so connected at that time. So we had a robust opera program. We did full operas all the time. Tom Hall, who was the conductor of the Baltimore Choral Arts Society at that time, was
Okay.
there, and he was also the director of choral activities. So we had a really rich choral experience, and I was also doing some singing with them, and we just did so much. Of course, I did the whole a cappella thing. I loved that. I was totally into that.
Yes.
And then I went on to University of Delaware. So I formally studied. I was actually not going to be a music major. I was going to be a creative writing major. And I was
Okay.
actually on my way to Oberlin. And then I didn't. And then there was a scholarship called the Rosenberg, and it required me to be a minor. So I started accompanying folks in
Okay.
chamber music class. And next thing you know, I was a voice major. And next thing you know, I was a double major. I was also a theory comp major. So
Okay.
I do a lot of composing still, but that was my undergrad degrees were there. Then I went to University of Delaware, and I did 2 degrees there. I did one in choral conducting, Paul Head with Paul, and then one in
Yes.
voice with Noelle
Yay.
Archambault. She's fabulous. She's a queen.
Yep.
Love her. And then now I'm finishing up at Temple University, PhD music education, studying with Dr. Rollo Dilworth, which is amazing. And it's just a real pleasure to be there. So that's kind of like the educational arc, and then done a bunch of different kind of like certificates and diversity, equity, inclusion, and a lot of training programs over the years in that space.
That is so great. You mentioned your involvement with ACDA as a child.
Mhm.
Were you involved with ACDA in your collegiate years? And then also,
Mhm.
how did you step into or become involved with your chair as the for the national kind of board for
Yes, yes.
DEI?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes, I was involved in college and of course in grad school, with the student chapters.
Mhm.
I went to conferences. Whenever I see student chapters raising money, I always give them money because I'm like, man, I
No.
loved going to the conferences. I just couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. And I mean, God, I remember the first time I saw Rollo walking down a hall, it was just so crazy and so exciting.
I
And
know.
Z Randall Stroop, I was like, oh
Right.
my God. Like it was just
Right.
incredible. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Exactly.
And God, going as a student was so great. And we would stay up all night, talking all night about these choirs and just dreaming
Yeah.
that like maybe
I
one
know.
day we could like have a choir that
Yeah.
sounds like that. So it was
That's
just like unbridled hope and optimism is how I kind of remember those moments. How I got involved with national is
yeah.
that you do some things with some states, and I had been doing a lot of like clinician work and diversity work, and I was reading Choral Journal one day, and I looked at the purposes of ACDA. And at that time, there was nothing in the purposes of ACDA about diversity. And so I wrote to the executive director, who at that time was Tim Sharp, a letter, and I said, hey, guess what? I noticed that we have all these purposes, and that's great. Though I think diversity should be part of the purposes of ACDA, that we need to foster diversity. And then that really was the beginning of it. He was like, tell me more. We spoke. I then got connected with some of the OG diversity initiatives folks.
Okay.
So Eugene Rogers, Penelope Cruz. And then there was like the big meeting in Minneapolis. I guess that would have been 2017-ish,
Right.
when we were first really starting standing committees. And it was the first time like there was a group that came together to say, we need to talk about diversity. And I was part of that group. And then, the chair opened up as Penelope Cruz became president and Eugene Rogers' term was ending. And so at that point, I said, I'm going to throw my name into the hat for leadership of the committee, because I felt like we had a lot of great thoughts and ideas, but I felt like we needed not just a heart for diversity, but a skill set for diversity. And a lot of times we need to make sure that, like a lot of times we are too touchy-feely, not that we're overly emotional, because it is important to us, but it is that we also have to know that diversity is many skills. It is a skill set, and we have to exercise that skill set. And I felt that I could bring that. And so the executive committee took a look at my materials, my conducting resume, looked at the work that I'd been doing at the choir school and throughout the community and with other choirs, and appointed me to the position in 2020. And so I did not know what was going to happen when I was appointed. So I was appointed before the world set on fire. And then it was this craziness with COVID. Obviously, the murder of George Floyd was huge and rocked not just ACDA, but all of our professional organizations. And so I always joke, Eugene Rogers, I remember calling him and I was like, what do I do? Like, the world's just like set on fire. Like, and particularly the day after George Floyd was murdered. And he was like, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like that. And he jokingly goes, well, here are your keys. And like, I was like, oh no. But of course he was great. And he stayed on longer, and him and Penny transitioned me into everything, which was great. But it was really a crazy time, not just in ACDA's history, but America's history, the world's history. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have played a small role in a lot of the evolutions that we've had fairly quickly in the association.
Yeah. Well, you've played a huge role in the evolution of the ACDA. I know that I will speak personally here in this interview, but I personally am enormously grateful for you and for the work that you've done, the things that you've brought to the forefront of our collective awareness. I also want to publicly thank you for everything that you did to help and assist the choral directors in the state of Connecticut in 2021.
Oh, y'all did the heavy lifting.
It was profound for us, for our profession, and you have been an incredible, and to continue to be an incredible teacher for all of us, and resource and pioneer in so many ways. And I'm deeply grateful to you for your work.
Thank you. I love serving alongside all of you all. You guys are just the best. Y'all are just making it happen. And there's no place like Eastern Region.
There's no place like Eastern Region. Oh my goodness. Well, all of this feeds into your creation of what you'll be presenting in your sessions at the national conference next week. We are 7 days away, people.
I'm so excited.
7 days. I'm so excited. So if you could just give us a little brief snapshot of each of your sessions for those of us who will be attending. Sell it to us, Arreon.
Yes.
And for those of us who are not attending, give us a little, a snapshot so we can know what you're up to and what we can investigate into, the content that comes out after the conference?
Well, first of all, I want to just thank everyone who's been, building this conference. And, the theme is belonging. And I'm really grateful to Dr. David Freiling and Penelope Cruz for running with this. And it was out of the product of a lot of the work that we were doing as an association and some of the trainings that we were having and taking a look at. If you take a look at that graphic, it really is a triple Venn diagram of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and when they all come together in the center is belonging. So I'm really grateful to them for seeing fit that just having a diversity conference in 21 wasn't enough, that we needed to continue to work, not to just have diverse persons, but to have the association be a place of belonging. That said, there are a couple of, a few things that you can check out, and everyone can check out the conference. Even if you're not there, download the app. You can see the descriptions, and so many people are already starting to upload handouts and things like that. So everyone in ACDA can access all of this rich material. And I too
get the app. Get the app, Eastern Region. Get the app.
Yes, please do. And thanks to Mark Boyle and his team for all the work that they've done on that. It's incredible and great. So one of the sessions that I'm doing and helping to facilitate, it's not so much that I'm doing something, but I'm really facilitating a conversation with the National Diversity Initiatives Committee. It's called Where Do We Go From Here? And so the question is, there's been a lot that's happened, and a lot of people might think, well, we've done it, we've done the things, but there's still so much that we aspire to be able to do. And so I'm going to be joined by my colleagues on the Diversity Initiatives Committee. So that's Maria Isabel Valverde, Noel Archambault, that's Joshua Palki, that's Andre de Quadros, and Ahmed Anzandula. And we are going to talk first of all about what is access, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and restorative practice, ADEIBR. We wrote a little bit about it in the Choral Journal some months ago, but making sure that we're all using a common definition of that so that you are able to see and that there's transparency about the work that we envision for the future, the work that's for all of us to do as we work to make ACDA a more equitable, inclusive, and loving place. So we'll talk a little bit about what has happened. We'll be giving a little preview to the Diversity Dashboard, which is a new initiative where we are beginning to collect data demographics on our application pool for the conferences, and that we're going to begin publishing that publicly. I don't want to give away too much, but folks, you don't want to miss some of this because y'all are going to be really proud of a lot of the work that's been happening, and we're trending in the right direction. And then we're also going to open up the floor because part of what's important is hearing about the concerns from members and membership, particularly in this area. We want to know what kinds of professional development resources are continue to be needed by choral conductors, choir administrators, potential choral participants, etc. So we really also are going to do some active listening in that session. And the DIC will be joined by our executive director, Robin Hilger. So if you've not had an opportunity to meet her, she will be on that panel as well. And she is doing such just amazing work with stewarding our organization and helping to shepherd through this evolution to become more equitable and more inclusive. So I'm continually grateful for her leadership of the organization and for her real passion for ADEIBR, for inclusion work. So she's really passionate about that. So that's a big piece that I'll be focusing on during the conference. I'll also be doing a session called Come Sunday, which is an exploration of Black liberation theology and gospel music. Black liberation theology is something that a lot of people might not have heard about because we never had the opportunity to learn about this construct, particularly of how fundamental it is to interpreting the spirituals and gospel. So I'll be talking about this framework, and then I'll also be connecting Black liberation theology to performance practice. You might have wondered, well, how do I know when to do those slides or those scoops or those forzandi? Well, it's all actually integrated with interpreting the text through Black liberation theology. So I'll be giving some guides for that. I will have a little mini demo choir made up of conference attendees. Be on the lookout. You can sign up to sing at a session. And of course, everyone at the session will sing. There'll be some examples expertly sung by Dr. Jillian Harrison Jones, who is fabulous. And let me tell you, she's going to sing heaven down. She's going to sing it down.
Let's go.
So she's great. She's also the conductor of music out in Cincinnati.
Yep.
And then we're also going to be joined by my mentor and teacher, who's going to be covering keys for us, the amazing Dr. Rollo Dilworth. So it's going to be a powerful session. I think for me, I would say if you plan on approaching spirituals or gospel, I really do think it's a really fundamental piece of our education that was not there. It was not in my own. And so I really hope that it will help folks on their journey on unpacking these idioms.
Absolutely.
So that's exciting. And then finally, I will be hosting the Choral Cookout. So this is an affinity group program for Black identifying choral conductors. It might be the largest affinity group that we session that we've had at a conference. I'm not sure. I've been trying to take a look back through, but it might be. But please encourage all of your Black identifying friends to come. This is a reception. This is like a full-blown reception. So it is a big deal. Thank you to our sponsors, which include Gentry Publishing, Course America, ACDA, Equity Sings, and Bent But Not Broken. We're really excited to be able to have this space, to be able to connect folks with one another, and to talk about some really great opportunities that are in the field right now for development of Black choral conductors. So please, if you know Black choral conductors, encourage them to come. And we look forward to meeting them and welcoming them into the ACDA fold. We are really excited. We are thinking that this ACDA might break records for the most amount of persons of color at a conference. So I'm really excited. And this is great. So that's another highlight.
That is amazing. Thank you, Arreon. Thank you for all of that information. I'm sure people are going to be scrubbing through this video. Listen to the last 10 minutes again. Everybody. You're going to want to write it all down. Oh, so in every conference conversation that we've done, I think this is the 7th in the series. We have one more coming, and that's later today is with Dr. Dilworth. And yay. And so we have this little, what we call our lightning round at the end. So are you ready? Arreon Harley Emerson.
Ready. I'm ready.
Round. Okay, here we go. What is your favorite piece that you've programmed this year?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Oh, this is not fair. I will tell you the composer whose work I am really championing this year. And his name is Alvin Trotman, Trotman. He is a young Black composer, and people need to know his work. And so I have made it part of what I'm doing to program a lot of his music. And so please look him up. He's got works available that are self-published but made available through J.W. Pepper. So you can check out a lot of it there. And if you want me to make some recommendations of some pieces specifically, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. What is a piece that you've programmed recently that you cannot wait to do again?
Oh, the piece that I programmed recently that I cannot wait to do again. I think it's going to be Reginald Wright's Tides. I am obsessed with Reggie's new, well, it's not his newest piece, but one of his newest ones. It's called Tides. It's fabulous. It was the winner of the 2022 Bent But Not Broken Call for Scores, one of the two, and it was fabulous. And
Yes.
I've been kind of doing it ever since, and I cannot wait for the next time to do that piece. Like, it's constantly in my head and in my soul.
I love that. Okay, you need to get ready for this one.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Oh no.
Okay. All right, everyone just brace themselves, okay? What is your favorite state in the Eastern region?
It's Delaware. Period.
Shocking.
Delaware.
Okay,
Done.
Why is Delaware your
Done.
favorite?
Well, it is the first state,
Yes, so
right?
it's special.
Also because Delaware is a small community and everybody
Yeah.
knows everybody else. There are fabulous choirs here. People don't really, for such a small community with like a small population, it's amazing the amount of choral assets that we have. And it's great that everyone is approachable and supportive. And let me tell you, we're doing big things here in Delaware. We've got some great things that are about to happen and that are already happening. And so y'all, Delaware is going to be a state where people come for choral music for the next 50 years.
Right.
I'm telling you.
That is right. I love it. Okay. Who is a conductor or a composer that you'd love to work with or have your choirs work with? Who you haven't yet?
Who I've never worked with. Wow.
Conductor or
conductor? Oh, this is a hard one. I think, well, I know her work, but I would love to have her work with my choirs. I would love to have Jan Taylor. Everyone knows I'm obsessed with Jan Taylor. I've never actually had her work with my choirs. I would love for that opportunity to have her work with my choirs. Another conductor who I'd love to work with my choirs, who I do know but has not worked with my choirs, is Brandon Waddles. Y'all, the man is just so good. And wait, he can do anything. He can do anything. He can do gospel, he can do jazz, he can do anything from the Western canon. But let me tell you, he can beat down a piano. He can beat down a piano. And so, yeah, I would love for him to work with my groups. He's great, brilliant.
Great. Do you have a bucket list choral experience?
I do. I have a couple. I would love to, there are a couple pieces on my bucket list for conducting.
Okay.
One of them is The Ordering of Moses, Nathaniel Dett. That's on my bucket list. I'd love to conduct that. Also on my bucket list is Dvorak's Stabat Mater. I totally want to conduct that. That opening and ending are exquisite. Let me tell you, like that, he got the thing done. And like he left no crumbs. He left no crumbs. And so I think that piece of music is just so compelling and powerful, and it has some really unique qualities to that Stabat Mater setting. And I would really love to pair that Stabat Mater setting with a new work. It is fairly long, but I would love to pair it with commissioning a work, which I have not done this yet, but I would love to have the mothers of who have lost their children to police brutality. And I would love for that to be paired with the Stabat Mater, to be able to talk about the shared experiences of mothers losing their children, which is tragic. But I think it would be very powerful, and just something that would be deeply profound.
Woo, that's a bucket list. I love it. I love it. Okay. We're at the end of our lightning round.
Ooh.
One last,
Ooh.
slightly controversial.
Yes.
We've had
Yes.
lots.
Oh my
We've had
God.
I know you know it's coming. We've had
Ooh.
lots of different responses to this throughout the Eastern region. So, Arreon Harley Emerson, are you a do-based or law-based minor person?
I believe in movable do, and I believe in law-based minor. Why, you may ask? Because
why?
we are evolved creatures. We are not Neanderthals. We need law-based minor. Like, I know the reasons. I totally hear it. But most importantly, I feel like Edwin Gordon is like probably the scholar of all scholars on audiation. And I truly believe that if we don't hear in these fixed terms, and we do hear in relation to, in our Western construct, we hear in relation to do. And because we hear in relation into do, I think it's fine to move it. And number two, I think, why do do, re, mi if I could just do la, ti, do? Like, it's so much more efficient and preserves like the intervals. And I just think we are evolved enough to use law-based minor. Like, we can do this. I'm not trying to say that the other people are wrong, but they are.
Oh my gosh.
That's
best
just how it
answer of the
goes.
day. Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you for being so honest in your answer.
Thank you.
I love it. And thank you so much for sharing so much of yourself with us in this conversation. I'm just so grateful to you, and I cannot wait to see you next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. ACDA Eastern Region, if you have any questions or would like to contact Arreon, reach out. Please go to his website at equitysings.com. You can find him there, find more about Arreon and his work. And Arreon, we cannot wait to see you in Cincinnati.
Yay! I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.